No guns outside the state's holster. That blunt line from Lebanon's newly elected president, Joseph Aoun, sent shockwaves through the region on Wednesday. And it was aimed squarely at the Islamic Republic of Iran, Hezbollah's oldest patron. But here's where it gets controversial. The president delivered that message while shaking hands with Ali Larijani, Iran's Supreme National Security Council secretary, inside the gilded halls of Babda Palace. The photo op, released by the Lebanese presidency, shows two men smiling politely even as their governments square off over who gets to hold the trigger in Lebanon. The backdrop is a freshly approved cabinet blueprint, endorsed just hours before the meeting, that commits Lebanon to the U.S. brokered roadmap for stripping Hezbollah of its vast arsenal by the end of 2025. That roadmap, personally delivered by President Trump's envoy Tom Barrack, lays out the most granular timeline yet: inventory audits, cantonment sites, international monitors, and phased withdrawals from the southern border. Hezbollah, still reeling from last year's war that wiped out much of its leadership, has publicly rejected the plan. Yet the Lebanese state, for the first time in decades, is speaking with one voice. Only the national army may carry arms. And no foreign capital, Tehran included, gets a veto. President Aoun drove that point home in his talks with Larijani. According to a palace readout, he stressed that Lebanon welcomes cooperation with Iran, but only if it is anchored in respect for full sovereignty and non-interference. Translation: cash, culture, and trade are welcome. Missiles and militias are not. Larijani pushed back with velvet gloves. Speaking to reporters after separate meetings with Parliament Speaker Nabih Berri, whose Amal movement is Hezbollah's closest political sibling, he insisted Iran does not impose plans on Lebanon. Instead, he argued, the real intruder is Washington, which dictates deadlines and disarmament schedules. Larijani's soundbite of the day: your enemy is Israel, your friend is the resistance. By resistance, he left no doubt he meant Hezbollah, the Shiite movement founded in 1982 that now commands more firepower than Lebanon's conventional military. And this is the part most people miss. Larijani's delegation arrived in Beirut without a written proposal, almost as a theatrical counter-programming to the thick American dossier. The message seemed to be, we're not here to negotiate disarmament. We're here to remind you who stood by you when Israeli jets screamed overhead. Yet the Lebanese government is no longer content with rhetorical winks. Prime Minister Nawaf Salam, fresh from his own sit-down with Larijani, issued an unusually sharp rebuke, branding recent Iranian statements, including Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi's vow that Tehran supports any decision Hezbollah makes, as a clear violation of mutual sovereignty. In diplomatic speak, that's about as close as you get to calling someone out in public. The Iranian side doubled down. Ali Akbar Velayati, senior advisor to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, warned that disarming Hezbollah would leave Lebanese lives, property, and honor defenseless against Israel. It's a line that resonates with many citizens who remember the 2006 war, when Hezbollah's rockets were the only retaliation against Israeli incursions. Critics, however, ask a prickly question. If Hezbollah is Lebanon's shield, why does its arsenal sit in suburban basements and Christian-majority villages without local consent? The U.S. plan itself is a labyrinth of checkpoints and verification mechanisms. Phase 1 would see Hezbollah heavy weapons, ballistic missiles, long-range rockets, move north of the Litani River under French-monitored cameras. Phase 2 transfers medium-range stockpiles to depots jointly guarded by the Lebanese Army and UNIFIL. Phase 3, slated for December 2025, would fold Hezbollah's elite Radwan unit into a new border commando regiment under Army command. Skeptics call it fantasy. Optimists call it the first plan with both carrots, international reconstruction aid, and sticks, renewed Israeli oversight threats. President Aoun's closing remark to Larijani was carefully calibrated. Recent statements from Iranian officials have not been constructive. Diplomats in the room described the temperature as politely frosty. Aoun ended by reaffirming that the Lebanese state and its armed forces alone bear responsibility for protecting every citizen, Sunni, Shiite, Christian, or Druze. So where does that leave us? A tiny Mediterranean country is trying to reclaim the monopoly on force. A regional heavyweight is warning against abandoning the only deterrent it trusts. And Washington is dangling billions in aid if Beirut can pull off what no previous government dared attempt. Controversial take. Some analysts argue that Hezbollah's weapons are less about Israel and more about domestic leverage, an insurance policy against political marginalization. If that's true, disarmament isn't just a security issue. It's a tectonic shift in Lebanon's sectarian balance. Others counter that without Hezbollah's arsenal, South Lebanon would be as exposed as the Golan Heights. Your turn. Is Lebanon's push for a gun-free state brave sovereignty or reckless vulnerability? Should foreign powers have any say in who keeps the rockets? Drop your thoughts below. Agree, disagree, or bring receipts. Let's keep the debate civil, but let's not keep it quiet.